I'm Rob Skeoch from Big Camera Workshops. I'm here today talking with Andy Clark from Vancouver, Canada. Andy is a staff Reuters photographer out of Vancouver, and he has covered events throughout the world, major conflicts, major sporting events like the Olympics or World Cup. He's got a 35-year retrospect gallery show opening up in Vancouver. Black and white images from assignments around the world showing 35 years of work by one of Canada's top photojournalists, actually Photojournalist of the Year last year. So Andy Clark from Reuters Canada and his gallery show opening this weekend. So why don't we talk about the show then? How many images do you have in the show and what are they up?
Well, there's going to be about 80 images in the show altogether. They're all going to be black and white, even though a lot of them may have been shot in color. They are going to be just a cross-section of my work for about the last 30, 35 years. Going back, some of the images are back from the 70s, early 70s, mid-70s, right up to pictures. I added a couple of pictures that I took just last week. So it's just a roundup of my work over the last, I would say 35 years since I've been a photographer. I reviewed all the prints yesterday, and I'm trying to remember, I have some old-time beauties that I really liked from Trudeau, when I photographed Trudeau in the 70s and 80s. I have a lot of feature pictures that I've taken over the years. A few sports pictures, not too many. I didn't want to show a lot of pictures of, what's the word, peak action sports. I figured, I would just show sports pictures that were a bit unusual, right. Stuff like that.
Now, I mean, I enter stuff in gallery shows all the time, but this isn't really something that you normally do, right? Like you're entering the photo clips or the world press maybe, but not gallery shows.
No, a friend of mine, whose friend owns this gallery, just mentioned it to him one day. I guess about 6 months ago. Said, because they're always looking for shows. They have a constant turnover of shows at this gallery. In fact, I guess just about a week or so ago, or 10 days ago, they had Freeman Patterson exhibition. And they just recently had I'm following a show of, it's not a show of one photographer, but of many photographers of nudes, stuff like that. And then mine comes up, and I think there's another photographer from the United States after me. Anyways, there is a constant turnover of shows. They show them for about 3 weeks.
Right.
So they contacted me about 3 months ago, and we started talking about it. And I said, sure, because I've never had a show, an independent show like this before.
Right. So it's kind of a retrospect of your 35-year career too, right?
Yeah.
And also, now, are the pictures for sale at the show? Like, can people buy the prints, or have you not really explored that area at all, or?
No, haven't really explored that area. A lot of the pictures are, of course, copyrighted by whom I work for at the time.
Oh, yeah, right.
So I don't know that I could actually sell them. The other issue is that a lot of people like to buy prints based on the fact they're maybe limited edition. And there's no way these could be ever limited edition because there are God knows how many archives they're in around the world.
Yeah, right,
so,
of course.
So I haven't really explored that. There's a few of my own stuff that I shot on my own that if somebody wanted to buy it, hey, let's talk.
Sure,
but
sure.
I haven't, that's not part of the show in any way at this point.
Now, as a journalist photojournalist who's covered so many great events throughout the world, when you see something like what's going on in the Middle East right now, or what's happening in Japan, do you want to be there, or have you done enough of that?
Oh, I'd like to be there, yeah. In fact, the other day they put out a note to all the photographers asking for volunteers to go to Japan. I haven't answered it back, but I think I'm going to tell them I'm good. I'm good to go if they need somebody.
Right.
But yeah, I'd like to go, but the hunger to go has diminished over the years because in a lot of cases I've done it.
Right.
If my boss has asked me to go, yeah, I'm good to go and I'm ready to go. But I'm not jumping all over it like I was maybe 10, 15 years ago.
In those hard to work areas, Japan, power is on and off. Communications probably on and off. In the whole Middle East right now, there would certainly be restrictions and power shortages and that. How do you work in those situations? How do you get your pictures from out of the camera to the Reuters system?
Well, based on the past, for instance, back in the 90s, I was in Bosnia for a while. And of course, it was the same situation there during the troubles there, that the power would go off and on. We were staying in, I was with one or two other Reuters people, one from Reuters TV and one from a journalist. And we were staying in a kind of a beat up and shot up hotel. And the power would go off quite often. We had a small little generator there that we'd use if need be, and start it up. Also in the past, we've used these backup power supplies that you can plug your computers into. So when the power is on, it's charging, and when the power goes off, it gives you maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 hours of power.
Right.
Other than that, you just keep your batteries charged. So when the power goes out, you hope for the best.
Right.
I don't know what the situation is in Japan or Libya, but that's what we've done in the past. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Bosnia. How many of the conflict areas have you covered over that 35-year span of your career?
Well, the first one I did was the Romanian Revolution in 1989. I was sent to Timișoara, where the revolution started, and so I spent about I guess about a week or 10 days there during the revolution.
Right.
Then after that, I did the Gulf War, the first Gulf War. I was there for about 3 months. I went over about 3 or 4 weeks before the war, and then was embedded with an American tank battalion and stormed into Iraq and the whole shebang. And then after that, I went to Bosnia in, I'm trying to remember, I think 95. And I was there for about 2 months up in Tuzla in the north.
Right.
And I stayed around Tuzla for about 2 or 3 months. I think I was there. Yeah. So that's about it for that, for conflicts per se.
And of those, which was the most dangerous or the most activity going on while you were there?
Well, they both kind of went up and down. Romania was pretty hairy for the first few days. Especially because you didn't know who the bad guys were. The Gulf War, of course, was pretty intense once the ground war started, though most of it was outgoing rather than incoming. And Bosnia wasn't too bad. The danger there was just the unexpected. I think my biggest fear there was hitting a landmine more than anything else, because there was landmines everywhere. And I drove around in an armored Land Rover, which helped peace of mind, anyways. But there was a lot of landmines, and you had to be very careful. So Bosnia wasn't as much. I guess the other two were a little more dangerous.
This show that you've got coming up, are there images from each of these scenarios in the show?
Yeah, I think I've got images from each place. Trying to remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do.
All the images at your show are in black and white.
Yes.
Why did you go that way? They were probably shot in color.
I just love black and white photographs. My website is all black and white. Obviously, in this day and age, we shoot all color and transmit color out on our wires, but black and white has always been my favorite. There's nothing beats a really nice black and white picture.
Right.
And as somebody told me many years ago, they said color takes away the soul of the photo.
I think I've heard that too. Now, do you find with the black and white images that are in the show, were they scanned in, or like the older ones that were still on negative, or did you scan them in, or did you make traditional black and white prints in the darkroom?
No, I made files. I scanned them. The negatives were scanned, all scanned. And even some of them where I have the negative, but I don't know where it was, I even scanned the print. And I was quite surprised how well they reproduced. Yeah. So they're all digital images done on a digital printer. Yeah.
Right. Great.
And just to kind of wrap up, when you're going on an assignment covering it for Reuters, I'm sure you've got bags of gear. What is your kind of go-to equipment right now?
Well, usually I take 3 bodies with me. The lenses depend on what I'm covering. If I'm covering a sporting event, I will take my 400-2.8, the big glass, or my 300-2.8. If I'm covering news, I might take just my 300-2.8 and then the smaller lenses, the shorter lenses. Then, of course, my laptop and all the bits and pieces that comes with that. Couple of hard drives to back my work up.
Right.
So I don't travel that heavy, actually. I travel with, including my clothes, I only travel with 2 cases. One for my clothes and one to carry the gear in, and that's about it.
Right.
I like to travel as light as possible. Back in the film days, we had to carry portable darkrooms and big, heavy analog transmitters, and sometimes I'd travel with 4 or 5 cases. So these days in the digital world, getting on an airplane with 1 suitcase and 1 equipment bag is more than fine with me.
Right.
Saves my back, too.